Okay, Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabbrakathum. My sisters, Yahweh Shamar Iltha Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah. It's a Thursday class. I'm Priest Officer Kwamgawan. It's the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite groups. We teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the chosen people of the Most High God, Yahweh. And today we're going to be discussing so-called African American history, Black history, and real biblical Black history. All right. So first, we're going to read a little bit about what Black History Month. We all know that February is so-called Black History Month. We're going to read a little bit about that. All right. So Black History Month starts Tuesday, February 1st, and ends March 1st, which is a month-long celebration. Okay. So Black History Month is an annual celebration that started in the U.S. in 1926. The month of February was chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln, the U.S. president, who issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, and Frederick Douglass, an African American orator, social reformer, writer, and abolitionist. Okay, so they chose February to coincide with Abraham Lincoln's birthday, who I believe is a heathen, and Frederick Douglass. Okay, so right off top, it has something to do with something that's unlawful, right? Already, birthdays. We know, of course, uh, in the truth, or in the actually began the commanding general Hana, according to the Bible, the Most High God Yahweh, that birthdays are unlawful. So, they chose this as a, just like they chose anything else, like they all these other American holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. It's just another day that they chose to, worship men, or were, and it's man created. Okay, so Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history. I mean, that sounds good, but if you're a Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian in America, we know that we are not respected or at all revered for any accomplishments that we do, unless it's making money for the devil, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about. So, and our central role in the U.S. has been nothing but slavery. We have been slaves for over 400 years here in America. We have been depressed, crushed, lied to, taught lies in these public schools, taught lies to the so-called Christian church and the Christian pastor. So our central role has been that of a slave. We have never been treated with the appreciation we deserve, and we come from the Most High God, Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? We are to be the rulers on this planet, and we have never been, respected as such. We've always been respected as, not respected, but always been treated as slaves here in America, even today. Okay, so how did February become Black History Month? In 1926, Carter G. Woodson, who many considered a pioneer in the study of African American history, wanted to find a way to bring attention to Black history and culture. So he established Negro History Week, which was celebrated the second week of February. So Carter G. Woodson, he established Negro History Week. Okay, and which was celebrated the second week of February. Okay, and once again, this is a man who just feels like with some vain purpose, some vain goal, some vain something he wanted to achieve, and he just made this up. Also, Kent State's Black United Students proposed the idea of a Black History Month in 1969 and celebrated the first event in February 1970. President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976 during the U.S. bicentennial. Okay, Black History Month returned to its roots with a new focus on Black family ties in 2021. The theme for 2021, the Black family, representation, identity, and diversity, explored the wide ranging diversity of Black family life, from single to two parent households to nuclear, extended, and more recently, biracial. Okay, so representation, identity, and diversity. I mean, we have no representation here in America. Our representation is the so-called, our so-called leaders, the Christian pastor, right? Steve Harvey, right? He's our leader. Athletes, Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan. These are our leaders, right? Identity. What identity do we have? We are called African American, which is two white people, Leo Scipius Africanus and Amerigo Vespucci, right? So that's not our identity. According to the Bible, according to the Most High God Yahweh, we are the Israelites, the real Hebrews, the Jews that the Bible speaks about. But in America, that's not what we're taught. We're taught that we are black, which is a color. We're taught that we are so-called African Americans, which is, two places, two locations. Okay, we've been called, bywords, things that don't really pertain to us. We've been called everything but who we really are, which is the ancient Israelites. So our identity in America has been whatever the white man has given us. That's what our identity has been. And diversity. Okay. So, and then it says from single to two-parent households to nuclear, extended, and more recently biracial. So they're putting a tag on us right there because, of course, we know that the Most High God said that, we are not to, you know, gather with any other nation other than our own people. So, to say, we extended into a biracial nation, which is, which has happened to some degree, but it was something that we weren't supposed to do. And really, there's no such thing as, you are what your father is. So whatever your father is what you are. But originally, we are not to be a people that mingles with other people. Okay, so we are never to, even though it has happened to some degree, we are never to embrace that. We're supposed to be separate, as the Most High God said. We are to separate from other nations. All right. So then I want to ask the question: who is the most single important person in Black History Month? And I'm pretty sure anyone can guess this. We know that would be none other than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. No single African American in history is perhaps as famous as Martin Luther King Jr. A federal holiday on the third Monday each January celebrates his legacy. Entire sections of textbooks are devoted to his civil rights activism in the 1950s and 60s. So, of course, the god of Black History Month is Dr. Martin Luther King. So it's another way to celebrate, another false idol, a man who has some vain goal, a man who did nothing but led his people into a burning house. These are his own words. A man that had lust, for daughters from outside his race. Okay, this is not a man who was about his people. He had a vain goal. We went over this, I think, last class or the class before, that Dr. Martin Luther King, he started this whole movement because he had love for an Edomite woman. So that's how he started the whole movement, because he was in love with his woman, and he felt like he should have been able to express his love for his woman. And at that time, it was something that people just weren't ready to accept. So again, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is the single most important person when it comes to Black History Month. Which is equal to just saying your pastor is the single most important person in Black History Month. Okay, and they never truly identify or tell you the great accomplishments that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have had in America. They never will do that. They will they will spoon feed you certain people and certain things that happen, but they will never give you the true glory that you deserve. And the only way you get that glory is by keeping the most high God's law, statutes, and commands. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get any glory. All right, so I'm gonna read a little list of some of the people that they had this so-called important on Black History Month. All right, so we have a list of them like about 1 to 20. Okay, so we have first on the list Hank Aaron, which is a baseball player. Okay, we're famous for famous for celebrating athletes, right? Even though athletes, all they do is just earn money, yeah, spend their money on the white man's vices. You know, you know, Black men especially love to, you know, uh, get some money, get some fame, and then leave their people and go be with the daughters of other nations. So this is the type of people that they revere. Ira Aldridge, Muhammad Ali, who we know as a brother, but Muhammad Ali, was a so-called Muslim. All right. So think about having that as your leader. If you're in the truth, you're a Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, and you follow Muhammad Ali, which is Muhammad Ali was a great boxer, but his faith or his religion, so to speak, was wrong. You know what I mean? It was wrong. He worshipped Allah. Okay, we know that the Most High God Yahweh is the only God. All right. Richard Allen, Marian Anderson, Maya Angelou. The Maya Angelou was like an author, writer, and whatnot. And she's one of the. I remember growing up in being in school, they always talked about Maya Angelou. Like she just was, always brought up. and that's that, empowering, a certain type of woman and whatnot. Arthur Ashe, who was I want to believe a homosexual tennis player. I think he died from AIDS. Crispus Attucks, James Baldwin, Benjamin Banneker, Amari Baraka, Romare Bearden, and Mary McLeod Bethune. Okay, I'm gonna skip down to a couple of people. Of course, 20 they got George Washington Carver. We know about George Washington Carver, all the contributions he made to American society. And I believe I think his ending wasn't a good one. I believe it being something that wasn't very good. I have to look into it. But regardless of what you achieve here in America or what you contribute to American society, it's going to be nothing to the so-called oppressor. He and the devil that the Bible speaks about. He doesn't care about that. He just wants your slave labor, and then he's going to take whatever it is that, whatever talent or whatever thing you bring into the situation. He's just going to take it and claim it for himself. That's what he's famous for doing. All right, let me skip down a little bit more. Here's a good one. Number 23, John Henrik Clark. John Henrik Clark, one of those Pan African, pro African, borderline Hotep uh, brothers who, you know, so called, at one moment he's for so called black people, you know what I mean? But then, it's blacks and whites can get along and they can be one. You know what I mean? And I don't even think he believed in God. I think I even went as far to see. I think I seen one of his speeches one time where he said that that God could be a woman or something. But these are the type of people that they put on the list as being revered during Black History Month. And if you're lost and in the world, you'll believe these things. And these people are not leaders. They're the farthest things from leaders. A leader is commanding General Yohana. Okay. The generals in the ISHPK, the captains on down to the officers, and you know what I mean? So those are leaders. Those are your real leaders. Like the prophets back in the day, during the time of, Christ and after Christ, and in the Bible, the different prophets there. You know what I mean? But these people that you see today, they're, these athletes, these movie stars, these Christian pastors, they are not leaders. I'll give you one more. They got number 25, Bill Cosby. They got Bill Cosby on the list after he hit himself and America has destroyed his image and said all these bad things about him. They actually have him on the list. But he's supposed to be an influence or a model citizen for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to look up to. But that just goes to show you the wickedness of America, because they know that none of these people really are or anything to look up to. But they give it to you because they want you to, be just like these people, which is to be sinners. They don't want you to actually keep the law, statutes, commands of the Most High God, Yahweh. Okay, so so basically that's what I want to just talk a little bit about Black history, like the start of it, what it means. We know that they made it during the month of the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and who was it, Frederick Douglass, and Dr. Martin Luther King was the single most important person for Black History Month. So let's pull some scriptures now. Let's get some scriptures. All right. Okay. First of all, we know that when man goes about to, institute a holiday or a day that's supposed to be sacred, or any birthdays or any feast days, we know that that's a false thing, because man doesn't have the power to do that. Okay. And to make it something so called holy, the man doesn't have the power to do that. The Most High God does that. Okay. And we know that in the scriptures in Leviticus is where the actual high holy days or convocations are. So I'm gonna just read that little part there. Leviticus 23:1. So if you ever have any questions about, you know, holidays or so-called days that are supposed to be revered, the only days that you can, do any, celebrate are the ones that are in Leviticus 23, the chapter of 23:1. And it goes on to talk about, the Passover, Feast of First Fruits, and so on and so on. So Leviticus 23:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, these are the feasts of the, this is going to jump down to 23:4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which shall proclaim in their seasons. So, like again, if it's not in this chapter, there's no such thing as, a holiday or a day that you're supposed to revere. You understand that? And you're not going to find in here birthdays, Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. You're not going to find Abraham Lincoln's birthday. You're not going to find anything about Frederick Douglass. Okay. You're not going to find anything about February being the special month. You know what I mean? That's not in the scriptures. And the scriptures talk about Passover. Okay. The Passover talks about the Sabbath, talks about the first fruits, Purim. It talks about those things. If you go in here, Leviticus 23, you will find this out in here. So again, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 23:4, these are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which shall proclaim in their seasons. Okay, so that's where you find, the real high holy days. So when you see man come up with, the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, Christmas, Halloween, Easter, Thanksgiving, all these things are made by man, and there are things that the Most High God hates and despises. All right, and that's what we're going to jump into. Okay, so we're going to Amos 5:21. Amos 5:21. I hate, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Okay, so we know that Black History Month, I wouldn't per se as a a long, as a feast day or a feast month, but some people could look at it as days that to have feasts or to honor certain people and whatnot. The point I'm making is that it's not anything special. It's nothing anything different than any other day, and technically, if you really want to be technical about it, every day in history is Black History Month because our contributions that we have brought to America and all and everywhere else on the earth have been, this has been going on for a long time. So it's February is nothing different, nothing special. We have been, contributing to every society and every other group of people but ourselves, really. So February is nothing special. Okay. Amos 5:21. I hate, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Okay, so the Most High God don't care nothing about no damn February. You don't care about Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. You don't care about Abraham Lincoln's birthday or what Frederick Douglass said about, during the month of February. He doesn't care about none of that. Okay. The Most High God doesn't care about that. The Most High God does want you to keep the high holy days in Leviticus 23:1 in that chapter. That's what he wants you to do. One more time from the top. Amos 5:21. I hate, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Okay. Let's get Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Your leaders, and of course we go over this almost every week, and I love to bring it out because it's just so heavy. Our leaders, our Christian pastors who are so-called leaders in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, they have caused us to err, and you mean error, okay, to make mistakes. And they that are led of them are destroyed. They that are led of them, that's us, the people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They want you to believe that it's okay to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. They want you to believe that February is a special day. They want you to take on the red, green, and what is it, black flag. The so-called represents Africa, and I believe it was Marcus Garvey that came up with that flag. They want you to think that that pertains to you, that represents us as a people. Okay, the only thing only connection we have with Africa is that them stinking Africans put us in slavery. They help. They sold us to the white man, and the white man brought us over here in slavery. You know what I mean? That's the only connection we have to them. They are not us, and we are not them. We're different than them. Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders, for the leaders of this people, cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. So that's us. By believing that February is a special month for Black history, you know what I mean? That's one reason why we're destroyed. Do you think that the police, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about, gives a damn about February? Do you think he still ain't pulling over niggas, driving down the street? You know what I mean? You think your employer, you won't fire you in February? I mean, what is Black History Month going to do for us? What's it going to do for you, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman? What's it going to do for you? You think it's going to stop them from beating you over the head and treating you like, a nigga, and as they so-called say, or like a degraded being? What was they called? Three-fifths of a man? No, they're not. Black History Month is not going to change anything. It's just something that they give to us, to pacify us, to make us forget about all the wickedness they have done to us year in and year out. And for the other, so-called 11 months out of the 12 months of the year, even though it doesn't stop in February, but that's what they want you to believe. Okay. So nothing is never going to stop. There's still going to be the devil, the oppressor that the Bible speaks about. And we're still going to be to them, three-fifths of a man. One more time, Isaiah 9 and 16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. So our leaders allow us to believe that, Black History Month is okay. TD Jakes is going to, I'm pretty sure he's putting up Black History Month banners in his church. Steve Harvey certainly, he'll do anything to make money or to, to be in good graces of the oppressor. You know, all these so-called leaders, you know what I mean? They kissed the behind of the oppressor and they lied to us. And they have taught us to be nothing but destroyed. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna read a little bit of stories, okay? We're gonna read some stories about some real Black history, okay? Real Black history that's in the Bible, biblical history, not what the white man gives us or what the white man gives us on his TV, his radio, and his textbooks in school. We're gonna give you some real history. So right now we're gonna talk about King Solomon, okay? And this is real history. Black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, and woman. This is real history. Salakia. All right, so we're gonna start at 1 Kings 11 and 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. So King Solomon, who we know as the son of King David, he loved many strange women. What are strange women? Women who are outside of the grace of the Most High God, mainly heathen women, not of the nation of Israel. So King Solomon had wives of other nations of people, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, that's the African, woman of the Moabites, that's the so-called Chinese, Ammonites, so-called Japanese, Edomites, okay, that's a so-called white woman, Zidonians and Hittites. Zidonians, I think, believe are Africans, which sit on, and the Hittites. 1 Kings 11 and 2. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, ye shall not go in unto them. We are not to have sex with women outside of our race. Sisters, you're not to have sex with men outside of your race. Neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. So messing with someone outside of your race will have you, worshiping different gods. And it says that King Solomon loved these women. Okay, that's his downfall right there. 1 Kings 11 and 3. And he has 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. 11 and 4. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. This is real history, black man. King Solomon became an old man, and he had all these women, these wives of strange nations, and they turned away his heart from following the Most High God Yahweh. This ain't talking about Black History Month. This is real Black history. Okay? And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Okay? 11 and 5. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians. Those are a tribe of the Canaanites, I believe. And after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. It's another heathen god of the so-called Japanese worship. Him having a Japanese rib, this is what he was exposed to. Real history, black man, black woman. All right, 1 Kings 11 and 6. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as David his father. 1 Kings 11 and 7. Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. So Solomon started building these these temples and structures and stuff for the gods of the women that he dealt with, which of course angered the Most High God Yahweh. And I know that Molech was the god that it was like a he was like a big like furnace with the head of like a ram or something like that, and he would have his hands out like this, and they used to sacrifice children on it. So what they would do is they would put the child in the stretched out arms like this, and they would heat the bottom of the big furnace, so the child would ultimately get burned in the hands of that idol, and that was a way they would worship that god. So Solomon was doing these things because why? Because he dealt with a woman outside of the nation of his own people. Real Black history. We ain't talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, some vain man that just gets celebrated during Black History Month, or Frederick Douglass. or worshiping the birthday of Abraham Lincoln, because that's what it really is. We're talking about real Black history, the real history that got us into the situations we are in now today. All right. And likewise did he for all his strange wives. He didn't just do it just for the one, he did it for all of them, which burnt incense as sacrifice unto their gods. So he loved these women so much that it allowed him to turn away from his God. And the Lord was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord God of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods. But he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Lord warned him, and he didn't listen. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant, my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in the days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. So he told King Solomon, because you chose to, worship the gods of other people, or help these women worship their gods, and you went away from worshiping me. That now I'm going to take the kingdom out of your hand. Now we know this happened to King Saul too. King Saul didn't do what the Most High God said, and he got the kingdom taken away from him, and it was given to David. So Solomon, in his old age, committed abominations and sin, uh, going away from the Lord. And the Most High God said He's going to take the kingdom, not from him. And the only reason why he didn't do it for him is because for David's sake, because the Lord loved David. But he said, "I'm going to take it out of your son's hands," which Solomon's son is Rehoboam. All right, so he was going to take the kingdom from Rehoboam, and this is a very heavy subject. Why? Because a lot of us, and especially in the world, we don't know that this is the beginning of the end for us. Because up until this point, we were a unified nation. There was no North and no South. You understand? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians were under the same, so if you want to say banner, or a part of the same nation. There was no split. But because of the wickedness of Solomon, when he became an old man, we ended up splitting and becoming two nations. You would have the Northern Kingdom and then the Southern Kingdom. All right. And then there was civil wars between us. We started not to get along. The same type of civil wars we have today, where blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians don't get along today. But this is the beginning and the end. You see, this is real Black history, real biblical Black history. Not something made up by the oppressor, to keep you asleep. You know what I mean? This is real history. So King Solomon, he messed up, man. And this was the beginning and the end for us. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. Now let's get into some more real history. We're going to talk about some of these captivities. Okay, we're going to talk about some of those captivities that we experience, and even though we're still in one today, let's start with the Assyrian captivity. All right, so let's go to 2 Kings 17:1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea the son of Elah to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. So this is a king of our people that ruled over the northern kingdom. Okay, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that before him. Against him came up Salmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. So the king of Assyria at the time, Salmaneser, came up to the northern kingdom. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore, the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. So I guess Hosea got, tired of being a vessel for the Assyrian king, and he went to go get help from the Egyptians. And the Assyrian king found out about it. And that's why it says, and he shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. Okay, so you see what's happening here, right? He besieged it 3 years. Here comes the captivity. You see, this is real history. This is what we need to be learning in these public schools. But of course, they will never teach us, as they don't want us to know our real history. That's why you're learning it here in the Ashur and the Commanding General Yohana. That's the only place you're going to learn it. 2 Kings 17:6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria. And Samaria is, the head. Samaria was the capital of the northern kingdom. All right. And carried Israel away into. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Syria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. So the Assyrians came into Israel and took the northern tribes back to Assyria and near the areas of the Medes. The Medes are the Persians. Okay. 2 Kings 17:7. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. All right, so we sinned against the Most High God. Okay, real history. We sinned against the Most High God. So He allowed these Assyrians, to come and besiege our nations and take us into captivity. 17:8. And walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and the kings of Israel, which they had made. So he's telling you here that the Most High God was the one that put us in the land of Israel, and there were heathens living in that land before we got there, the Canaanites, I believe. So he cast them out the land and allowed us to get the land. But we began to act just like the heathens that were there before us. So what do you think is going to happen to us? He's going to treat us just like he treated those heathens before us. And he used the king of Assyria to do it. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them. See, I just said that. And wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. 17:12. For they served idols, whereof the Lord has said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. For they served idols, whereof the Lord has said to them, You shall not do things. That's what you're doing when you observe Black History Month. You're celebrating idols. Black History Month, I just read is that they want to commemorate the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, and Dr. Martin Luther King is the most important figure during Black History Month, who's another idol in America. He has his own statue and whatnot, and he's revered. He was a sick man, but of course, the oppressor makes him, wants you to believe that he's something great. For they served idols, whereof the Lord has said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from the evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. See, the Lord said, he told you through his prophets and the seers. That's like today. The ISUPK and the commanding General Yohana. We got classes, Monday through Saturday. We're telling you over and over and over again to stop celebrating these holidays. Stop observing these so-called, pagan days, these vain days. We're out in camps, over the weekend, Friday, Saturday. We're on the street trying to reach out to our people, screaming to our people, crying out to our people. So the Lord is warning you through that, through the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. But we won't listen. We won't listen. And back in the day, back here, there were prophets in the Bible that were, in the book of Kings, Jeremiah, Isaiah, whatever. They were trying to do the same thing. And of course, our people would not listen. Notwithstanding, they will not hear, but harden their necks, like to the necks of their fathers. They did not believe in the Lord their God. So our people don't want to listen. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he had made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them, that they should not do like them. So the Lord charged us, do not do what the heathens do. That's what I'm telling you today. Do not do what the heathens do. Don't worry about Black History Month. Don't celebrate Christmas. Don't celebrate Easter. Don't worry about your damn birthday. Don't worry about Halloween, 4th of July. Okay? This is what the prophets are supposed to do for the people. We are warning the people like the Most High God tells us to. And of course, we're hated for that. But that's a prophet's job. You understand that? It comes with the job. Okay? And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God and made them molten images and two calves, and made a grove, and worship all the host of heaven, and serve Baal, all right, which is Lord. Baal means Lord. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire. Remember, I just told you about the so-called god Molech, was it the Ammonites? They caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, which is that sorcery, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Real black history, black man and black woman. Real black history. If you don't know this is talking about you, then you just don't care to know your history. But this is clearly talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Therefore, the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. So he removed them off the land of Israel. And at that time, only the tribe of Judah was still there. But we're going to get into them too. We're going to get into the so called black man next. Also, Judah kept, here we go, 17 and 19. Also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord and made them sin a great sin. So after the kingdom split, um, remember, from Solomon, not following the Lord, and the Lord said that he would take the kingdom out of his son's hands, Rehoboam, and then Jeroboam became the king of the what was it? The Rehoboam was the king of the southern, and Jeroboam the king of the northern tribes. So so we became a split nation. We had civil wars between each other. Okay, let me see, Salakia. And so the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria this day. And the king of Israel brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. So after they removed the Israelites, or the nation of Israel, the northern tribes out of from Israel, he transplanted other nations into the land. So now you got heathens living on our land. Okay, and this is over time. Of course, these people, stayed, and some, and the people all mixed together and whatnot. And that's why, like, we're not in our land today, but different people got into our land. Okay, and this is all in the Bible. This is real black history. This is real black history. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman. Real black history. Okay, we're not talking about any, Black History Month here. We're talking about real biblical history. All right, let's get into the next topic. We're gonna talk about the tribe of Judah, so-called African American man. Slovakia. Okay, so let's go to Jeremiah 27 and 1. In the beginning of the reign of Joachim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord to me, Make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Sidon, by the hand of the messengers which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Judah, and command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beast of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all the nations shall serve him, and his son, and his son's son, until the very time of this land come. And then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. So what's happening right now is the Lord is giving Jeremiah, he's telling him what's about to happen. That again, the tribe of Judah, the Israelites, we won't keep the Most High God's law, statutes, and commands. So what is he going to do? Allow us to go into captivity again. And he allowed Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, to take us into captivity, into Babylon. And he said that we're going to serve him, his son, and his son. You see what I'm saying? This is real biblical history. Everybody knows through the archaeology, biblical history, that we were servants in bondage and slavery in Babylon. Okay, this is real history. All right. Okay. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. So the Lord is doing this. He's giving Nebuchadnezzar this power to rule over his wicked people at the time. And you're going to do it. That's just like today here in America. This is the reason why we're in this slavery today, because we refuse to do what the Most High God says. We don't want to keep His laws, statutes, commands. We want to get the red, black, and green flag out and say Black History Month and follow Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King and Marcus Garvey. Right? We don't want to listen to Command and General Hana. We don't want to listen to the laws, statutes, commands of the Most High God. We don't want to see the model that Yahweh Shai Christ put out for us. We don't want to do that. And then you want to get mad at the prophets of the ISUPK for telling you the truth. You want to be mad at the prophets. Therefore, hearken not ye to your prophets, not to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. Don't listen to that man or them people that tell you that you're not going to serve this king, because the Most High God's telling you, listen, I made this happen. You're going to be in slavery because I want it to happen. And when the Most High God wants something to happen, it just is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and ye should perish. But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith the Lord, and they shall till it, and they shall till it and dwell therein. I spake also to Zedekiah, king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. Why will you die, thou and thy people, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, as the Lord has spoken against the nation that will not serve the king of Babylon? Therefore, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that speak unto you, saying, ye shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie unto you. For I have not sent them, saith the Lord. Yet they prophesy a lie in my name, that I might drive you out, and that you might perish, ye and the prophets that perish that in the prophecy unto you. All right. The Most High God saying, these people that are telling you not to serve the king of Babylon, when I'm telling you that you're going to serve the king of Babylon, they're lying to you. And I didn't send them to you. They acted like they're prophets, just like Dr. Martin Luther King. He appears to be a prophet to the nation of to the Black Hispanics and Native Indians, in America, but he was a liar. He was nothing but a liar. He just had a vain goal. Malcolm X, same thing. Malcolm X, I truly believe that he did have love for his people, but he just was just misinformed. He's just following the wrong thing, and he worshiped the wrong God. You understand? The Most High God didn't send these people for our salvation. Okay, we all know that Christ is for our salvation. He sent Christ for our salvation. And today, the only way you're going to get in this truth or understand these things is by getting in the ISUPK and the commanding General Yohana. That's the only way you're going to find this truth out. All right. Also, I speak to the priests and to all his people, saying, thus saith the Lord, hearken not to the words of your prophets that prophesy unto you, saying, behold, the vessels of the Lord's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon, for they prophesy a lie unto you. So, of course, the Babylon, when Nebuchadnezzar came, he took all the vessels and stuff from the temple in Israel, Jerusalem, and they're saying, oh, we're going to get that back. No, you're not. You're not going to get it back. Hearken not unto them. Serve the king of Babylon and live. Wherefore should this city be laid waste? But if they be prophets, and if the word of the Lord be with them, let them now make intercession to the Lord of hosts, that the vessels which were left in the house of the Lord and in the house of the king of Judah and at Jerusalem go not to Babylon. They're really prophets. They're really, if I sent them, what I mean? He's telling them, he said, tell them to make intercession, what I mean, that the vessels will not make it into Babylon. And guess where the vessels ended up? In Babylon. That just tells you that they weren't prophets, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took not when he carried away captive Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. All right. Oh, Salakia. Yeah, hold on. Salakia. Oh, so like, for thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning the pillars, and concerning the sea, and concerning the bases, and concerning the residue of the vessels that remain in the city, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon took not, when he carried away captive Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. Yeah, thus saith the Lord of the hosts, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels that remain in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah and Jerusalem. They shall be carried, here it is, 27:22. They shall be carried to Babylon, and there shall they be until the day that I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore them to this place. So he's saying that, the vessels were going to be carried into Babylon, okay? So, and the Lord, said this was going to happen. And of course, it's going to happen because us not keeping the law, statutes, commands of the Most High God, and following the ways of the heathens round about us, like King Solomon did, setting up our images and stuff for his wives. Um, you know, uh, King Saul for not carrying out the Lord's, orders. You understand? The problem with Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians is we continue to not do what the Most High God wants us to do. We continue to do what we want to do, and it's always been detrimental to us. Okay, and again, Black History Month in America is not real history of so-called Black people who are the ancient Israelites of the Bible. It's not our real history. Our real history is in the Bible. Okay, that's where our real history is. We don't, anytime the so-called oppressor sets something up for us to be, to celebrate or to worship, it's a pagan, holiday. It's a pagan holiday. It's nothing but a vain thing that brings money into his pocket and has us sin against the Most High God. That's always what it is. Okay. Now let's get into a little bit more history before we finish up here. All right, let's go over to Deuteronomy 28 and 15. We're going to talk about the slavery. So we went over two captivities, two sieges where the Assyrians took the northern tribes into Assyria, and Nebuchadnezzar took the southern kingdom into Babylon. So now let's skip forward a little bit more to the actual slavery. Slavery. We know the transatlantic slave trade. All right, and things that happened around that time, that period. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Okay, so that's us. Cursed. We are cursed in the city. We're the ones that's dying and on every city block, on drugs, walking around like zombies, being murdered by the police. All types of broke in the city. You know what I mean, and unemployed in the city. And then it says, of course, you should be in the field. Our ancestors were picking cotton in the field. That's the curse. We're cursed in the field. So this can only be talking about Israelites, Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, because we're the only ones that fit, this story here. All right. Salakia. Skip down a little bit. 28 and 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make thee pestilence cleave unto thee, until he hath consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with the consumption, and with the fever, and with inflammation, and with extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. All right, let's skip down some. Okay. 28, 24. The Lord shall make thy rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall come down upon thee, until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. There you go. That's how we ended up off our land and in different parts of the earth, in different, all the 4 corners of the earth. Israelites are everywhere, all over the globe. All right. And thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. What does that sound like? That sounds like lynchings to me, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. And thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air. Sounds like a lynching to me. You know what I mean? This is real history. This is real Black history in the Bible. Okay, we're not talking about Mother Africa, the mother, that everybody think is the mother of us all. We know that, of course, Jerusalem is the mother of us all, according to the Bible. But, We're not talking about the red, black and green flag here. We're talking about real history, real history. This identifies with you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. All right. And thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou cannot be healed. Okay. 28, 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. Oppressed and spoiled. Are you not oppressed by the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about? Are we not oppressed? We're not oppressed by the court system, oppressed at your employment, some devil ruling over you. We're just oppressed everywhere we go. We're treated like, what, everywhere we go. All right. So this can only be talking about us. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So we betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. That's what happened in slavery. You know, Black women were put up on the auction block, taken away from their husbands, their family, sold to the slave master, and then the slave master would do what? Rape her. You know what I mean? Knock her up. Have more, or make forced marriages where they would take another slave and make them have sex to produce children for more slavery. So this is what the Bible's talking about. This is real Black history. This isn't, like, again, this is not, we're not talking about Black history month as far as America. We're talking about real Black history. All right. All right. Let me skip down. 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. I mean, that's clear as day. Who else could that be talking about? That's the transatlantic slave trade. Put on the boats and in a spoon-like fashion, brought to America, put on the auction block, sold to the highest bidder. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people. Real Black history. We're not talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. This is real Black history. Okay, real Black history. All right. Skip down some more. 28:36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. You know what that sounds like to me, black man? Sounds like Christianity to me. Sounds like Islam to me. You know what I mean? And what do them crazy Muslims do? They circle the Kaaba stone, a meteorite that fell out of the sky. They circle that, kiss it, hug it, do all types of things to it. That's what it sounds like to me. And there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. That grandma had that nice, wooden cross up on the wall when you were coming up, when you were young. Gotta forgive grandma, she didn't know no better. Right, right, right. Christmas, right. It's another idol. They used to remember. I remember they used to eat right. They used to have she used to put the star on top of the tree, you know what I mean? It'd be all crooked. You know what I mean? It's funny, but it ain't funny. All right. Okay. 28:41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Who else could this be talking about? Who else could this be talking about? This is real Black history. You're going to beget sons and daughters. Right, right. Nimrod. You're going to beget sons and daughters, but you're not going to enjoy them. They're going to go into captivity. That could only be talking about slavery. And that identifies with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This is real Black history. Real Black history. Not Black History Month in February in America. We're talking about real Black history. All right. The white man's, he's slick, man. He give you one day, give you 1 month. You know what I mean? And yeah, here, take this crumb, nigga. Be happy. You know what I mean? And then we really believe that and think that we're something special because we got a month. When even during that month and the rest of the months of the year, he's kicking you in your ass, Salaki, and treating you like like shit. You know what I mean? Like, so this 1 month of February and the little crumbs that he gives you and a little bit of appreciation that he says it gives you, it means nothing. It means nothing. Right, right. Calm, brother, calm. All right. Okay. 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until we have destroyed thee. So the Lord sent, these heathen nations at us because we wanted to be like the heathens. We wanted to take on their practices. We want to celebrate Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, New Year's, birthdays. We want to adopt, what is it, Black History Month. Take the flag that Marcus Garvey made, the red, black, and green flag, and apply it to us as if that's, describes our whole nation. You know what I mean? But the Lord's going to send these people after us because, we don't want to follow him. We want to do everything but be who we are, which is the ancient Israelites. Right. What did they talk about? Yeah, right. I just said earlier, I was reading it from online. It said, "Who do you believe is the single most important person in Black History Month?" Of course, it was your boy Dr. Martin Luther King. Your savior, brother. Nah, Salaki, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, of course, he's the most revered person of all time. I don't know why, but he really is. All right. Okay. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. That's a so-called oppressor. That's the white man. Okay, so again, this is real Black history. A nation that fears countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. Yeah, the so-called oppressor, he didn't give a damn about you know what I mean, slavery when he would put the little, 5 to 8 year old boy in the field with his parents to work, 8, 9, 10 hours, or when the black woman would be pregnant, ready to give birth, and she's out in the field picking cotton. He wouldn't show no favor to the young. So this got to be talking about black people. Right, right. Right. Khan, he definitely joined us to the oppressor. I mean, if you don't know that by now, if you don't know that Dr. Martin Luther King, joined us to the oppressor, I don't know where you've been the last, I don't know how many years. All right. So, okay. Okay. 28:52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all the land, which the Lord thy God have given thee. That sounds like to me. That sounds like right. No favor to the older two. Right, right. That sounds like to me that the siege in Jerusalem in 70 A.D. with Vespasian and Titus when they came and pillaged Jerusalem. That's what this sounds like to me. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until the high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all the land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all the land. Definitely sounds like, the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Okay, let me see. Okay, 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. That sounds like, like because of this oppression. You know how we've been oppressed so bad. And a lot of brothers and sisters in the world just don't understand where this oppression is coming from. So they just evil towards the person that's right next to them. The person lives right in the household. Your rib, your sons, your brother, your next door neighbor. We evil to each other because we're oppressed so bad that we don't even know who to take it out on. You know what I mean? So we take it out on each other. That's how bad, and distressed we'll be. Okay. 28:57. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. And I've even seen this personally. I've seen sisters, what I mean, so oppressed and so, crushed our way in this kingdom that, of course, they don't want to have their babies. They want to get abortions. Or even when they do have their babies, they hate the child. Like I know a woman that really actually didn't love her child. You know what I mean? So these things actually happen because of the oppression that we face. Right, right. Con. If you don't hate your oppressor, you're going to hate your brother and sister. Right, right. If you give your love, your love is, it's a sacred thing, man. If you give your love to someone else, man, you don't have enough love for the person or the people that you're supposed to give love to. And then you're right because you can't do both. You can't love both. Yeah, that's a good point, brother. That's a good point. Um. Okay. Okay. Let's skip down some more. All right, 28:64. I'm going to finish up here in a little bit. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So he scattered us, because we of course we were in our homeland at one point, but then he scattered us all over the globe. We went everywhere. You know what I mean? That's why Israelites are everywhere. In the United Kingdom, America, North America, South America, everywhere. We're everywhere. China, you know what I mean? Russia, Germany, we're everywhere and oppressed in those places. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. All right. Get on to the last part, 28:68. Right. You only have so much love to get right, brother. And it's all for our own people, man. You know what I mean? Thanks to commanding General Hana, ISHPK, you know what I mean? Brothers like myself learned that, you know what I mean? Like, so, and like I said, I remember that every day I walk out the door, to give love to my people. 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Right. So again, and to wrap it up here, basically, um, what is it? Black History Month is just another day that the oppressor gives you. And in the beginning, I know you probably didn't catch this, main, but basically they made that day based up off of Abraham Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass's birthday, which was in February. And then they added the whole Carter G. Woodson, 1926, thought it was a good idea to make it black something weak. And then Dr. Martin Luther King came in the 60s, and of course he's the greatest of all time. He's the GOAT, and they just now he's the most revered person on Black History Month. And of course, he has his birthday celebration in January. So again, we know that the real high holy days or so-called days to be revered are in the chapter of Leviticus 21, 23, and 1. And real history, King Solomon, ruled, was a wise and great man, and then in his old age, he started to commit wickedness. You know what I mean, for his wives or estranged women. That's real Black history. Okay, real Black history. We've been in captivity to the Assyrians, the Northern Kingdom. That's real Black history. The tribe of Judah going into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar. That's real Black history. Okay, real Black history. And quick fast, if you never heard of Judas Maccabees during the time of the Romans, fought against these Romans and gave them hell. You know what I mean? That's another real Black history story that we may get into some other time. But again, if you're looking for real Black history, you want to look into the Bible and get into these classes. And I should be carrying the commanding General Yohana. We have Monday through Friday here in Pittsburgh. It runs from 5 p.m. to 6:30 every Thursday, and any other class 7 to 9 Monday through Friday. And then we have a Sabbath service as well. And again, this is the Thursday class. I'm Priest Officer Kwamgawan. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.